Hello, BookTube. I just made the enormous mistake of checking to see how Twitter was reacting to the death of Stephen Hawking. I don't know why I do things like that. When I was yanking myself out of the La Brea tar pits of the comments section on Twitter on that subject, I thought, I really need books to get me out of this. Unfortunately, there's a new mail haul. So I thought we'd just go through those and just bask. And the first one is one that only barely reached me intact. The package was open, but the book is still in it. So let's see what we have here. This is from Harvard, the folks at Harvard. It's due in early April. Oh my. Oh my. Okay, this is going to be tough to read, but necessary. This is Bring the War Home. The White Power Movement and Paramilitary America by Kathleen Beaulieu, who's very young. She's assistant professor at the Department of History and the college. Okay, she's assistant professor in the Department of History and the college at the University of Chicago. So I have no idea what she does or even where she does it. But I just read a book on this subject called Everything You Love Will Burn that was brilliant and deeply disturbing. The white power movement in America wants a revolution. Absolutely true. They want martyrs and they want a revolution. It has declared all-out war against the federal government and its agents and has carried out with military precision an escalating campaign of terror against the American public. Its soldiers are not lone wolves, but are highly organized cadres motivated by a coherent and deeply troubling worldview of white supremacy, anti-communism, and apocalypse. In Bring the War Home, the author gives us the first full history of the movement that consolidated in the 1970s and 80s around a potent sense of betrayal in the Vietnam War and made tragic headlines in 1995 bombing of the Oklahoma City Federal Building. And those two things are the disillusionment with Vietnam and also the bombing of the Murrah Building. Those are big things. Waco is also a big thing. Ruby Ridge is also a big thing. But the white power movement in America now is hyper-militarized, hyper-organized, and in hyperdrive. It wants to overthrow the government, not just this government, but yours as well. And those things did not happen. That jolt of steroids did not happen because of any of those things. They happened because a black man was president of the United States for 8 years. I firmly believe that 200 years from now, when the splinter republics that are left of America look back to write the history, they will say that that was the Fisher Point. That's what drove these people literally insane. But I'm now reading every book on the subject. I didn't even know this was coming out, so I will read this. I have a little time. That's good. Very important, but a grim way to start a mail haul. Let's see what we have next here. Another one from Harvard. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. This is a paperback release from January. I just missed it completely. Okay. Well, it still goes to the front of the list anyway. This is Old Norse Mythology, Comparative Perspectives. Oh my. Oh my. Old Norse mythology is an elusive concept. It is the label used to describe the religious stories of the pre-Christian North, featuring such well-known gods as Odin and Thor, yet most of our data, especially in the form of narratives, has come to us from manuscripts in the Middle Ages. Our sources are thus mainly written by Christians, a situation that makes difficult analyzing and interpreting the stories as they were narrated in oral form in the pre-Christian era. This is going to be a study of that. Oh my. Oh, it's by a whole bunch of different authors. Oh, I want to stop the video and read it now. Oh, all right. Okay. All right. All right. So that's 2 from Harvard. I wonder if this is all going to be Harvard. Let's see what this next one is. No, this one's from Yale. All right. Well, the universities are weighing in. All right. This is due this month. This is the finished copy of something that comes out at the end of March. And we've seen it before. This is Victor Bulmer Thomas's Empire in Retreat, The Past, Present, and Future of the United States. Nice substantial thing here. I'm gonna try and do this going to try and do this the visually palatable way. In this book, the author examines the whole history and changing nature of the American Empire, shedding new light on its current state and on what the future might hold. The author first chronicles in fascinating detail the creation and management of America's territorial empire. This empire was still extensive at the dawn of the 20th century, comprising enormous territories in North America as well as colonies in the Caribbean, the Pacific, and Central America. By the end of the Second World War, the territorial empire had shrunk, but a different form of imperial ambition had come into play. Okay, well, not just for the United States, for everybody. Okay, so yeah, this comes out at the end of the month. I have the advanced copy and I haven't got to it yet. Nice meaty study though, so it's right up my alley. Let's see here. Let's see what this next one is. Okay. Some sort of novel. It's due in April. It's by Therese Bowman and it's called Eventide. Requisite hideous American cover. Who is Therese Bowman? Columnist for Expressen, writing about literature, art, culture, and fashion. And her debut novel, Drowned, was published by Other Press, same as this one, in 2012. Followed by The Other Woman in 2016. She lives in Sweden. Okay, alright, let's, what is this thing then? It's some sort of novel. Here, I'll hold it up for you. Isn't this nice? We'll see how this works. So that you're not just looking at my face, looking down off camera, reading something. This channel is aesthetically boring enough as it is. In her 40s, childless, and having recently ended an 11-year relationship, Carolina Anderson is reeling from the loneliness and boredom that often accompanies newly single life. She could read. She's welcome to review for Open Letters. She dives into her work and connects with a promising young graduate student who appears to have discovered new materials from a female artist working around the early 20th century that could change the history of Swedish visual arts. In a male-dominated field, Carolina fights to define herself as a serious academic while her friends and colleagues question her happiness. In a world where women are told they must lean in, Carolina's psyche fiercely debates what she actually wants and needs from her life as a successful professor and a single woman moving rapidly beyond her childbearing years. Is this the life she wanted? Okay. There's a little bit more to the plot summary, but I have a feeling it's not going to include a mention of giant prehistoric killer sharks. So is this translated from the Swedish? Yes, it is, by Marlene Delargy. So in Sweden, this came out in 2016. Okay, all right. Brainy foreign fiction in translation. All right. Let's move on here. What is this next one? Oh, okay. All right. This is the finished copy of Elizabeth Marshall Thomas's book, The Hidden Life of Life. A Walk Through the Reaches of Time. This is also a March book, if I remember correctly. Yeah, this comes out in March. That's the finished copy there. The Hidden Life of Life. Inspired by the idea of symbiosis in evolution, that all living things evolve in a series of cooperative relationships, the author takes readers on a journey through the progression of life, fervently rejecting anthropotential, the notion that non-human life does not share characteristics with humans. Thomas instead shows that paramecia can learn, plants can communicate, humans aren't really as special as we think, and that it doesn't take a scientist to marvel at the smallest inhabitants of the natural world and their connection to all living things. Okay, and I confess, this is like Empire in Retreat. I've had this advanced copy on the March shelf for... When did we haul this? It was a long time ago, and I still haven't got to it. It strikes me as slight, but that could still be good, and I mean to do it. I will have to do that this weekend. I'll have to do both of them this weekend. She can be good. This author can be good. She also can irritate me quite a bit. Her book on dogs was her mega bestseller. I'm sure she's still making money from it, and it's one of the worst books on dogs I've ever read, and that's saying something because most of them are bad. But it seems like one of the goals of this book will be to dethrone human exceptionalism, and I'm always on board for that, because you don't have to spend much time with any other species to realize that true human exceptionalism it's the province of a couple of characteristics. Most of what humans, for most of human history, have thought only humans do are common coin in the animal kingdom. And a lot of animals do a lot of those things better than humans do. It's just a question of whether or not you can talk about it and write books about it. Well, okay, if that's the question, then no other animal can do that. But that shouldn't be the question. But anyway, this is the last one of these vacuum-packed cardboard things. And then we'll be done. What is this? Oh, fantastic. Okay, wonderful. Do I have an invoice? I don't really want an invoice. Do I have anything else? I know what this is, though, so I guess I don't need one. This is Germaine Greer, White Beach, The Rainforest Years. And look at this, the book. That is the dust jacket is one of those translucent things over a picture. Lovely, lovely arrangement. And this is a story of, but our new arrangement, our new setup isn't going to work because I can't. Well, maybe it will. There we go. One bright day in December of 2001, 62-year-old Germaine Greer found herself confronted by an irresistible challenge in the shape of a 60-hectare dairy farm, one of many in southeastern Queensland, that, after a century of logging, clearing, and downright devastation, had been abandoned to its fate. She didn't think for a minute that by restoring the land she was saving the world. She was in search of heart's ease. Beyond the acres of exotic pasture, grass, and soft weed, and the impenetrable curtains of tangled latana canes, there were macadamias dangling from strings of unripe nuts, black beans with red and yellow pea flowers growing on their branches, and the few remaining white beeches. Stupendous trees, up to 130 feet in height, logged out within 40 years of the arrival of the first white settlers. To have turned down even a faint chance of bringing them back to their old haunts would have been to succumb to despair. So she takes on this land and brings it back to life, and a very different kind of book from her. So I'm eager to do it. I don't have any kind of information on it, but I think this is a March book. So it looks like this mail haul has a lot of gentle reminders for me to get to work, and that's good. That's one of the reasons I like getting finished copies. So we have White Beach by Germaine Greer. We have The Hidden Life of Hidden Life, as opposed to her famous dog book was The Hidden Life of Dogs. So that, and she did The Hidden Life of Cats. This is The Hidden Life of Life. Then Eventide, a novel. Then Empire in Retreat, Imperial American History. Old Norse Mythology, which is tonight's reading. I don't think that surprises you at all. And then Bring the War Home, about the rise of the Klan. But the rise of Klan 2.0 is really what it is. That it's the same. People don't use the term because they want to give white nationalism or white extremism or that sort of thing. They want to give it its own identity, but it is the Klan, only without the sheets. It's the white power movement hates all nationalities that aren't white Anglo-Saxon Protestant. They hate Catholics. They hate science. They hate any kind of progressivism. They hate equal rights for the genders. Absolutely hate that. They're full of hate. You might think when you hear the white power movement that their primary focus is black people in America. But they actually hate a lot of things. They want biblical patriarchy. On a flat earth, women are silent, women are chattel, children can be killed by their parents, by their father. That's what they want. They want that at the point of a gun. They are the Taliban, and they're so yeah, we can call them, what is it called, the white power movement in paramilitary America, but it's really the Klan, only on steroids. So there you go. That is a mail haul to take my mind off Twitter. I'm going to make a point for the rest of the night not to go back to Twitter. So I'm going to try anyway. But I will be back shortly. We have other things to talk about, so I will see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.